What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into another Seattle Mariners series preview. This time, the Mariners head on down to the Lone Star State starting tomorrow for a first place battle against the Texas Rangers. I'm going to break it all down for you guys. As always, before I do me a favor, hit the like button, helps out the video tremendously. If you're new here, hit subscribe. I've passed 3,000 subs, now on the road to 4,000. That would help me out tremendously as well. And if you're going to the game, maybe you're a Mariners fan in Texas, maybe you're a Rangers fan, download the SeatGeek app or go to the website, use promo code JSTrident to save yourself $20 off your next purchase. And yes, I am rocking the Sonics jersey, Gary Payton throwback 96 here. Got to support the Sonics when we can. I already lost another one of my teams, the Yotes, this week. So I'm supporting the teams that I've lost right now. And of course, we got the Sonics inspired Mariners hat on as well today. So let's go ahead and get in a little bit to this series preview. Kind of feels like a big early season series for the Mariners. Now, if the Mariners get swept, is the season over? Of course not. If the Mariners sweep the Rangers, will we declare them division champs? Of course not, though I'll be very, very excited. So it's not a make or break series, but I think it's a chance to change the narrative a little bit. And the narrative last year was the Texas Rangers kind of owning the Seattle Mariners. Outside of that last series where the year where the Mariners won 3 out of 4 from the Rangers, Texas beat up on them pretty good. They took 2 out of 3 early in the year from Seattle, and the Mariners were 0-6 in Texas last year, not winning a single baseball game. So you got a chance here early in the year, like I said, to just make a little bit of a statement that things might be different in 2024. Will they be different? I don't know. I certainly hope so. But I think a chance to make an early statement here for the Mariners. Nothing crazy. Like I said, this is not make or break by any means, especially when you've still got, after this series, 140 or 38 games left to go. So certainly nothing that's season defining. But I think as far as April series go, I think it does carry some significance, especially I think more so for the Mariners. Like I said, not only did I mention Texas kind of owning the Mariners last year, Texas defending champs, the World Series champs and the AL. No, they didn't win the AL. I always feel like they won the AL West. Technically, Houston did, but either way, a team that finished above you and then the team that won the World Series. So I do think a chance for the Mariners to kind of, make a little bit of an early statement here for 2024 if they can go into Texas and win 2 out of 3. I do want to share here as we get into the preview one thing real quickly. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here. And it is going to be, as there's ads popping up everywhere here. Well, we're on Fangraphs. We're trying to pull up the Fangraphs playoff odds that I want to pull up. It's under standings. No, not projected standings, although that would work too. We're going to go to 2024 playoff odds. And if we scroll down here, as we get rid of all the ads that pop up on Fangraphs, let's make sure it's working here. It is. Hopefully you guys can read that. If not, for Fangraphs projections, the Mariners do have the best odds of winning the division at 36.8%. Houston's at 35.1, Texas 23.4, Angels 4.1, A's 0.5. So according to Fangraphs, they right now project the Seattle Mariners to win the American League West. I just thought I'd point that out. Pretty cool. Also, just another good reason for everybody to take a deep breath a little bit too. That it's a long season. And despite some of the early frustrations, this team is actually in pretty good shape. Now, with all data, right? Like, not the end all be all. That does not mean Fangraphs playoff odds change dramatically. The Mariners lose 2 out of 3 in this series, and Houston wins 2 out of 3 against someone. Texas moves up, Houston moves up, and you're probably not the favorites to win the division anymore. Those odds change all the time. So I'm not saying here that, like, well, Fangraphs projects the Mariners right now to win the division. Therefore, let's just sit back and watch baseball and not worry about anything. Obviously not the case, but it is a good sign, right? Houston's still projected to be very close. Houston's off to a very sluggish start and is dealing with injuries galore in their pitching rotation. Texas was actually projected to be just slightly over 500 by Fangraphs. I think they're a little bit better than that for sure, but I don't think it's the craziest thing ever that the Mariners finish above the Texas Rangers. I did predict the Mariners to win the division, and again, there's 140 games left. This is not a told you so or anything like that. But, I do think it's very possible. I think Texas is beatable. We'll go through it. and look at their roster a little bit. And Houston's off to a very poor start. And I do have legitimate concerns about the Astros. None of that's meant to be trash talking, but I think there are some reasons to be worried if you are a Houston Astro fan, especially with the injuries starting to pile up a little bit. And the other thing I'll say about the Astros and Rangers, they played a lot of baseball games last year. Now, I hope the Mariners do that this year. Like, I'll take that trade-off any day. But maybe a little bit of fatigue for some of these teams, especially Houston, that's been playing, into World Series and deep postseason runs the last 5-6 years. A lot of extra miles on those guys. So definitely a shot for the Mariners to maybe get this done. Like I said, long way to go. And again, Fangraphs does not equal, oh my gosh, this is a slam dunk. The Mariners are going to win the division. I just want to point out the fact that it's not far-fetched to think that this team could go on to win the AL West. So you guys have been waiting. Let's dive into the series preview. 3-game set starting tomorrow night with the defending World Series champions. 3 pitching matchups we got. We got Logan Gilbert against Dane Dunning. I love saying that name, Dane Dunning. Tomorrow night, Bryce Miller against John Gray, Luis Castillo, and that will be on Wednesday. And then Thursday in the afternoon matinee, Luis Castillo will take on Andrew Heaney. So let's go ahead and look at the 3 starting pitchers from the Rangers. Then we'll dive into their offense a little bit, talk a little bit about the series, and I'll get on my way. Dane Dunning, again, loves Dane Dunning, just sounds like a Texas name. Made 26 starts in 2023, probably in May. I'll stop looking at 2023 numbers. Pitched 172.2 innings, 3.7 ERA, 4.27 FIP, 140 strikeouts, 55 walks, and a 4.48 expected ERA. Dunning was solid. And really, I don't speak for Rangers fans or anything, but I think they'd point to him as a big reason why they were able to make their run. Remember, they lost Jacob deGrom last year, didn't make a lot of starts to them, and Dunning stepped in, and he was not Jacob deGrom, but he was solid. Really, those are really good numbers. That's a really good pitcher that is a solid middle of the rotation guy that certainly took some of the pressure off some of the other guys in that rotation and performed very well. So far in 2024, Dunning's made 4 starts. He's pitched 23 innings, 3.91 ERA. However, 6.87 expected ERA, 6.21 FIP, 22 strikeouts, 13 walks, fastball, slider, cutter, changeup, and a curve for Dane Dunning. Listen, again, I think this is a series where the Mariners have the pitching matchup advantages actually in all 3. That's not crazy. The Mariners pitching staff is really good. It is going to have a lot of advantages over teams. Now, this is certainly not all advantages are created the same. If you look at the Rockies series, I thought the Mariners had a clear advantage because the Rockies are really, really bad. The Rangers are not really, really bad. Their offense is good. And while I kind of talked about how the Rockies pitching was very mediocre back-end starters, I think it's fair to say maybe even they were below that a little bit. Dane Dunning, to me, it's kind of your prototypical number 4 starter. Just kind of gets the job done. Nothing super fancy, but a solid pitcher that is, again, more than capable of shutting you down. Some of the Rockies pitchers were not capable. Like, I mean, every pitcher in theory is capable of shutting down an offense, but there was no reason to let Dakota Hudson shut you down or Cal Quantrill or anything like that. And they hit Hudson. Quantrill was able to wiggle out of some jams. Dunning is capable. Like, Dane Dunning shutting you down is not something where you go, oh my God, how did this even happen? It's Dane Dunning. How could that happen? Dunning's a solid pitcher. More than capable. Yeah, I think the Mariners had the advantage with Logan Gilbert. But Dunning's been solid. Again, the FIP and expected ERA a little high this year. Normally I kind of go, oh, ERA will start matching the FIP. This is one where I don't necessarily think he's, I'm sure there are some underlying numbers outside the FIP that would tell you he hasn't been great, but I expect that FIP and expected ERA to come down. Dunning's too good of a pitcher for that to be his true numbers. I'd expect that FIP and expected ERA to normalize a little bit. So I think Dunning's a solid pitcher, off to a semi-decent start. The FIP and expected ERA high, but still that's in 4 starts. Nothing I'd be too worried about. If I were the Rangers, and a very capable starting pitcher. John Gray goes in game 2, former Rockies prospect. If I'm not mistaken, I think he made his major league debut against the Mariners, or maybe it was like his 2nd or 3rd start in 2015. I don't remember quite if it was his major league debut, but definitely one of his first starts. Gray, when he's on, can be a really good starting pitcher. This is probably the one game where If you want to argue the Rangers have a bit of the advantage with Gray against Miller, I could stomach it. If we're going off what we've seen in 2024, I'll take Bryce Miller. But if we're looking at the whole picture and you want to sell me that Jon Gray is the better pitcher, I can certainly buy into that, no problem. Last year, Gray pitched 157 in the third innings, 4.12 ERA, 4.48 expected ERA, 4.47 FIP, 142 strikeouts to 54 walks. Again, with Gray, it's just injuries, staying healthy. When he's on the mound, he is a solid pitcher, but he's battled injuries and battled some inconsistencies as well. 2024, he's pitched 20 innings, 4 starts. He's appeared in 5 games. I don't know. I didn't go back and really look through the Rangers box score to figure out why he pitched in a game that he didn't start. I don't know if they had a game that went super long into extra innings and Gray was just the next guy up. I don't know if he was coming back from injury and they just had him pitch an inning. Maybe it was a glitch and he didn't pitch relief in a game, but I saw 5 appearances, 4 starts, maybe pinch ran or something too. I didn't even look to see if it was a pitching performance, so who knows. But 3.15 ERA, 5.9 expected ERA, 3.51 FIP, 25 strikeouts, 10 walks. Fastball, slider, lots of sliders, 44% sliders, more than a fastball. Remember, fastball entails, cut fastball. It entails 2-seamer, 4-seamer. So the fact that Gray throws more sliders and fastballs tells you a lot. Also, curveball, changeup. Listen, the Mariners have, the narrative early at least was they couldn't hit anything but a fastball. I honestly haven't dug in too much to that recently, but the offense has started to come alive just in general. But you were going to get a lot of those sliders from Jon Gray. When it's on, it's a great pitch. We've seen Jon Gray be on, and man, he's tough to square. You're not going to square him up. When he's pumping that in the strike zone, it's a swing and miss pitch, and he can dot it very well. So if that slider's biting right, it can be a very, very tough evening against Jon Gray. It's just what Jon Gray you're going to get. And kind of the same for Bryce Miller, right? Like, is this new 2024 Bryce Miller the Bryce Miller we're going to be seeing the whole way? Or is it going? Okay, sorry, I had to pause the video. Not that you guys know that because you're not watching this live or anything. Dad duties had been called upon. I was talking about Jon Gray, his arsenal, that slider, and Bryce Miller a little bit too. So, yeah, it just depends on what Jon Gray you're going to get. More than capable of absolutely shutting you down. I've all seen the Mariners hit him up pretty well and get to him. So, kind of a wild card, but a good pitcher. Jon Gray is solid. I don't think any of these guys for the Rangers are aces necessarily that you would think is top of the line starters, but they're all very capable of pitching like top of the line starters. And then Andrew Heaney will go in the final game of the series. We have seen a ton of Andrew Heaney over the years with his time with the Angels, now the Rangers. So none of these guys, obviously being in the AL West, Dunning, too, and Gray are strangers to the Seattle Mariners. Heaney in 2023, 147 in third innings, 4.15 ERA, 4.55 expected ERA, 4.66 FIP, 151 strikeouts, 60 walks. So far in 2024, 17 innings pitched, 6.35 ERA, 4.61 expected ERA, 5.85 FIP, 15 strikeouts, 9 walks, fastball, slider, curve, and a change. Listen, Andrew Heaney is like the ultimate back-end starter. You know what I mean? And that's not a diss. I do not mean that as like an insult. He's left-handed. That can be tough. He's got that little breaking ball that can be tough to square up. He's better than 6.35 ERA, but he's also very capable of running an ERA like that. You know what I mean? Like Andrew Heaney can shut you down for 6 innings, or he can score 7 runs off of him in 3 or 4 innings. It really just depends. Again, I've seen the Mariners hit him hard. I've seen him shut down the Mariners before. So again, nobody that, you're going to compare to prime Greg Maddux or Roger Clemens or anything like that. But again, a pitcher that's capable of shutting you down. Also, none of these guys should be out of to be clear, while I think all 3 are very capable starting pitchers, none of them are guys that should just, you go automatically, boy, the Mariners have no chance. You know what I mean? Like a prime, you're going up against like a prime Felix Hernandez or something. And you go, gosh, if we can just scrounge out 1 or 2 runs and then our pitcher's on his game, you just hope. No, these are all pitchers that the Mariners should be able to hit. Will they, they're all capable of pitching good games too. So just, it's hard to put it into like, oh yeah, the Mariners should definitely hit them or they won't. But they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not some great task to get to these guys either. They're all capable of giving up some runs. I feel like I made that much more long-winded than it need to be. Let's look at the Rangers offense a little bit. So far in 2024, they are 9th in baseball in WRC plus with a 109 WRC plus. For context, Mariners are 15th at 102. The Mariners have an above average offense. They've dug themselves out pretty quickly. It's another reason why early in the year, you don't want to panic too much. Now, we'd hope the Mariners can get a little better than 102. That's slightly above league average. 100 WRC plus is league average. So it's not like they're, top 5 offense or anything. But remember, I mean, just, going into that Red Series preview, we were talking about a team with like a 70 WRC plus. Now, I think we all knew they were better than that. But the Mariners have done a nice job in last week of really pulling up their offensive numbers. But the Rangers can swing the bats, no doubt about it. In 2023, they were 4th in baseball, the 114 WRC plus, and they've got a lot of good players, and they got some guys coming back here as well that are going to make a big impact for them. Listen, we know the names: Marcus Semien, 132 WRC plus this year; Adolis Garcia, 178 WRC plus this year. Wyatt Langford been mostly DHing. He struggled out of the gate a little bit, 74 WRC plus. Corey Seager, off to a little bit of a sluggish start. I know he missed some time earlier in the year, but he's back, 95 WRC plus. Again, small samples. Evan Carter, 112 WRC plus. Jonah Heim, who was on the bereavement list this weekend, I believe. I'm not trying to get personal or anything on it, but I think his mother-in-law or father-in-law had passed away. So obviously thoughts and prayers to the Heim family. There are things that are much bigger than sports. I'm not sure if he's playing this series. It is worth bringing up because, Mariners are playing the Rangers, but obviously, thoughts and prayers with the Heim family during those times and everything. So wishing the best for him and his family. 103 WRC plus for him this year. Another good player. Nathaniel Lowe has come back. I say that sounded weird. Off the injured list, played him against the Braves. So he's back at first base for the Rangers. Josh Young, their young third baseman, is out right now on the injured list. But like I said, Corey Seager's been back for a while. I think Jonah Heim will be back. And Nathaniel Lowe as well is back in. There's really good Texas offense. We know the guys, right? Semien, Garcia, Seager. Langford's a good prospect. Evan Carter's a good player. You got Leodis Taveras is still there. He can get you. They can get you 1-9. Like, do I think the Mariners can beat the Rangers 2 out of 3? Absolutely. I think the Mariners got some tough guys too in their line. It's going to be tough for the Rangers pitchers to get out. But as much as I talked about in the Rockies series, how awful the Rockies were, yeah, the Rangers are not awful. They are a good baseball team. They are more than capable of giving you a really hard time. Rangers could sweep this series. That is not a crazy thing at all. Their starting pitching is capable. It's good enough, and you've got an offense that's more than capable of putting up multiple runs on the board. But it goes the other way too. Mariners offense is playing much better. It's already risen to the top half of the league. Starting pitching has been phenomenal. I don't think the Mariners have had a poor start from a starting pitcher since George Kirby in Toronto. So the starting pitching is on fire. A little bit of a benefit, I think, with the rainout in Colorado. You get Luis Castillo in this series. Otherwise, you would have had Emerson Hancock going, and that's nothing against Emerson Hancock. He pitched very well yesterday, but I think we feel a little bit better getting Castillo. If you had to say, like, hey, who do you want starting against Texas, Castillo or Hancock, I'm taking Luis Castillo. Logan Gilbert's been phenomenal. So again, I think the Mariners have the advantage in most of the pitching matchups here. Gray and Miller, you could, I can listen to a debate there. Texas offense has been better. It was better last year, but the Mariners offense is not bad either. So it is more than capable of hitting these Rangers pitchers. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Listen, I do think this is a big early April series. Again, do I think this defines the season? No. I think the Mariners have a chance to make a little bit of a statement, something they struggled to do last year. They never really got going against the really good teams. They had some moments. For the most part, it was beating up on a lot of bad teams, which is fine. Good teams beat up on bad teams, break even with the good ones, but we need to see some of that break even. It'd be great after kind of rebounding from that sluggish start here. Mariners won 5 out of 6. They can find a way to get 2 out of 3 in Texas. I think we're all going to feel pretty good about this team. And this is a tough stretch they're coming on. You've got Texas, Arizona, and Atlanta. Texas and Arizona, the defending AL and NL champs, respectively. And Atlanta might be, behind the Dodgers, the best team in baseball. The Mariners can go 5-4 over their next 9 games. I would sign up for that right now. If someone came to me and said, Jay, Mariners go 5-4, take it or leave it, give it to me. I'll take that. It puts you over 500, and let's go from there. So no more Rockies for a while, unfortunately. Now we get back into playing good teams. We'll see what happens here. Should be a fun series. I'm looking forward to it. A little bit of a maybe playoff atmosphere in April, as close as you can get. Let's hope the Mariners can get a series win. That's all I've got for you guys. Have a great night. Remember to hit that like button, hit subscribe. Sorry, I just felt like I was a little all over the place with some of this breakdown. I'm exhausted. Long Monday for me. So, and I'm a little under the weather, not a lot, but you know that feeling right before you get sick where you kind of feel it coming? I'm getting that a little bit. So I'm going to go get some rest and hopefully be good to go. I'll have the post-game recap up, obviously, for all 3 games. Like, comment, hit that sub button. Use the promo code on SeatGeek. Have a great night, everybody. Go Sonics. Hopefully soon we'll get to say that for real during a game. And go Mariners. Peace.